If you know much about Vermont in winter, you know it gets a bit nippy out. Now, humans deal with this by building houses and having fires in them. We also do things like just put on more clothes, and most animals grow a big winter coat. Well, then there are bears who hide out in their room for months like a Discord mod, but, you know, to each their own. And of course, not all winters are the same. Some are milder, some are harsher. Either having low record-setting temperatures or having lower than average temperatures. 1920 was a year in which both happened, both lower median than average and a record low temperature. However, this was not going to stop Ralph Sessions, who decided, even though it was the coldest winter on record to that point, that, you know what, some of us are just built different. So he didn't let the fact that on February 12th it was negative 28 degrees stop him from that day going out and ice fishing on Lake Memphremagog, a lake which is partially in America, partially in Canada. And after going out on the lake, he used a hand auger to drill through 18 to 20 inches of ice. He then began jigging. He caught a few perch, but then he felt something with a bit more weight on his line. And as he fought to pull it up, the sun shone through. And he got near the hole, and he saw a flash of, was that fur? Had he not caught a fish? It looked as if it was a baby beaver. He wasn't sure, but he pulled it out, and he got it out of the hole, and it was a trout that, due to the extreme cold temperatures that year, had begun to have a fur coat. Now, of course, Ralph hadn't hauled a camera out with him onto the ice, and although it was a very interesting find, well, it, even though it was fur-bearing, was still a trout, but below the legal limit. Not long enough to keep, so regretfully, he stared at it for a while, and then had to throw it back down the hole, because he couldn't keep it. But he did go into town and tell everyone what he saw. And they thought that he was lying. But then, 13 years later, Harry Richardson brought his camera on the ice on the coldest day of 1933. This time, negative 34 degrees. And he was determined. He not only jigged, but he set up tip-ups. And he caught the second ever in Lake Memphremagog fur-bearing trout. And I have a picture in Newport Centennial. The famed beaver trout or fur-bearing trout. Plain in black and white. Page 71 of the Newport Centennial. Unfortunately, that's the last time a fur-bearing trout was photographed. Now, reportedly, a Mr. James Hartle got one to the very edge of the hole before the beaver trout snapped the line. But that was 1970, and there hasn't been a sighting since. So many fear that due to climate change, the fur-bearing trout has gone extinct. But I still believe that one day there will be another man who catches the trout that has the fur of a beaver. This is a rabbit fur, by the way. I don't have any beaver fur on me. But, yep, there we go. There's the story of the Memphremagog beaver trout. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment saying what you want to see next.